Lauren Dowden for Conduit News, and today we have Doug Reed joining us from Little Rock. He is a AP teacher at Pulaski Academy, and just yesterday he was escorted out of his place of employment for not wearing a mask, and we're here to hear his side of the story. Thank you, Doug, for being here this morning.
Yeah, you're welcome. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, I think that your story will appeal to a lot of people. Just first tell us what happened there at Pulaski Academy.
Well, so we've been wearing masks there since fall of 2020. And I complied with all that. And then I began to pray about it and just not feel peace. The fact that I was wearing a mask, I felt like it was lying. It wasn't being honest, because if you look at all the peer-reviewed data, you just can't find any that just absolutely show mask work. If you look at it, the people that wear masks and don't wear masks, the transmissions of COVID is about the same. Mm-hmm. And just covering my face and not being able to breathe, and my body's a temple of the Holy Spirit. So anyway, just through some prayer time and thinking about it, I decided to file for a religious exemption afforded me by the Constitution of the United States. The First Amendment to it is freedom to practice your religion and also freedom of speech. And I sent that in on the 22nd of December, I think. I registered mail, and then I also emailed them a copy. And I thought I was good. I really did. And then on December 30th, I got a response and they denied it. And businesses are able to, and according to Title VII, which is not part of the Constitution, it's part of our law, but it supports the Constitution in that you can't discriminate, with regard to sex, gender, religion. There's a big list of things in there. Religion's one of them.
Right.
But businesses can claim undue hardship if it causes that. Their response was, if I don't wear a mask, then every time I'm exposed to COVID, I'll have to be quarantined. And where do they get that rule from? I mean, if you look at Peter McCullough, he says you can't transmit COVID unless you're sick.
Right.
So I'm not sure about all the asymptomatic that we're told all the time, and we're supposed to be scared of people because you don't know, they may be carrying it. So anyway, I was rejected. It was rejected. And so I didn't respond to them. I honestly was shocked that they sent that. So I thought, well, on Monday morning, I'll go up and I'll just tell them, appeal to them. And I thought they would let me teach. And so I went to the headmaster and told him my plight, that, I mean, this really is a religious conscience thing for me. God really has told me this, and I want to teach without a mask, which he told me I can't. Mm-hmm. And so I'd have to go find other employment. And so he wouldn't really fire me. Anyway, it's just, so since I didn't quit and he didn't really fire me, I decided to go to my room and teach, at which point I was escorted out of my classroom. And it was a sad day. I'm shocked by the whole thing, but I feel like if we don't start, and I'm not out to punish anybody, I just feel like we need to stand up for our constitutional rights, because we're losing them slowly but surely. And if people don't start standing up for constitutional rights, then we could lose it altogether.
You mentioned that it was a really sad day. You have taught at Pulaski Academy, it's my understanding, for 27 years. You've taught AP Physics there.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that this day would happen?
No, I really didn't. I remember on one of my, just like any job you have, you get like, a job, they look at you and do a review of how you, and I remember saying, well, I'll be here until God moves me on. I like it here, and I still would teach there if they'd let me. But I guess God's moving me on or something. But I do want to challenge just all the employers that are, I mean, I'd have to start with my employer, but all of them that are rejecting religious exemptions. It just seems like a no-brainer to me if you read, and you don't have to be a lawyer. You can read Title VII, you can read the
Right.
Constitution, you can, and most people probably don't know this. In 1993, Arkansas passed the Civil Rights Act. So we are also under an Arkansas Civil Rights Act that says the same thing. So yeah, it's kind of shocking.
Does it seem like it's about public health and safety anymore, or about something else? You know, right now we're seeing the Pediatrics Association just came out again and said, you know, it's time to make sure that the children are masked 2 and up. Schools who have previously lifted their mask mandate are looking at putting them back in place. What do you make of all of this?
Well, honestly, to me, it seems very political. You know, in the Matrix, they have the blue pill and the red pill, and it just seems like a large number of people have taken the blue pill. To me, of course, they have the opposite view of me, but yeah, it just doesn't seem like, if you look at all the peer-reviewed information, I mean, this is a disease that's like, I think overall, if you look at all age groups, like 99.94% survivable, and in kids, it's like 99.99 something. I mean, I have to look up to get the exact statistics, but
Right.
it's not as, it's very definitely not dangerous to kids. The flu is more dangerous to kids, and you
What
just,
has, go
yeah.
ahead.
Anyway, that's just I don't understand, except people watch the news and they're told that, and they don't really read themselves all the, which I do. I mean, I'm read all the time.
Well, so what do you make of the atmosphere at Pulaski Academy? I recently learned that a few students were sent home by administration because they applied for a religious exemption as well. One, what are you seeing at PA? And then two, if you're around students all day long, have you seen any type of impact from the past 2 years of these students wearing the masks?
Well, yeah, some of them get acne and sores on their face. It's very uncomfortable. Most of them don't like it. I mean, there's a few kids that like it, probably for all kinds of different reasons. But and I wouldn't say that if I went and looked in every classroom that most teachers are like really hardcore, keeping all the mask up around the nose. And so, but the atmosphere there, it's a little bit inconsistent, but you know, most schools are requiring it.
Right.
At least here in Central Arkansas, I know there's a few schools in Northwest. Well, I think Pulaski County schools, I think, decided to make it optional because parents spoke up. But unfortunately, a lot of schools, even the Christian schools, are kind of believing the idea that, well, maybe we should wear masks because it just is, it's going to protect us, or it might protect us. And I just think there needs to be freedom and parental choice, really, which is
Right.
a thing that's been going on for a long time. Parental choice
Right.
for where your kids go to school and what happens to your kids at school. And we were just talking about Dave Ellswick, and I think I remember this, but I think we used to get shots or vaccinations when I was a little kid, and I don't think the parents knew about it. So I think a lot of people are waking up to, I mean, these are my kids and I should have control, and I should have a choice on how they're treated, whether it's public school or private school, honestly. So yeah, we're just
Right.
in a battle for our constitutional rights, both parentally and individually.
We are. So what advice would you give to parents, to, you know, some of your coworkers? You mentioned before employers, but what advice would you give them as far as standing up for their rights?
Well, okay, so if you stand up for your rights, you might lose your job. So you're gonna, and I realized that might be the case. I didn't think it would really happen. I really didn't. But So you got to really count the cost before you go down this road. And so the parents, I guess they could make the kids leave PA. But yeah, if I was a parent, I would, and I felt like I could, then I would apply for a religious exemption. I mean, I just recently asked some parents, do you feel like God wants your kids to wear a mask? And they said no. I'm like, well, it sounds like you could apply for a religious exemption. Now, it may be an uphill battle because a lot of the courts seem reluctant to rule against a lot of the COVID stuff, which again is shocking to me, but it doesn't mean we don't need to try.
That's right. I do know that you are a justice of the peace there in Little Rock. How has this affected your service, if at all?
Yeah, so I'm a justice of the peace, which is a part of the quorum court, which is county legislation. And our county judge, Barry Hyde, has a mask policy in place where if you're not vaxxed, then you have to have a mask on. And I don't reveal my vaccination status one way or the other. And if you don't, then they assume you're not vaxxed. And so I also sent them a religious exemption letter and have not heard back from them. But in that case, I am not hired by him. I'm hired by the 20,000 people I represent in West Pulaski County. And he's better let me in to vote because we vote on important issues every other Tuesday. So it's coming up Tuesday. What's the next Tuesday?
I'm not sure. I have to look.
Calendar real quick. Tuesday, the 11th, starting at 6 down at the county courthouse, county administration building. So.
But you have not heard back from that county judge yet.
I have not. I just texted the county attorney and I hadn't heard from him either.
And then have you heard so you were escorted off the premises Monday, January 3rd. That was just yesterday. Have you heard anything else from the administration there at Pulaski Academy?
I have not. So I have no idea what's going on there. But yeah, they've not contacted me one way or the other.
Well, so where does this leave you now? I know that you have a legal defense fund set up. Tell our viewers about that.
Yeah, so it's a GoFundMe site, and you can get to it through my Facebook page, which is Doug.Reed.612, I believe is, what is it? Yeah, 1612. That's right. My wife just corrected me. .1612.
Okay.
And that will get you to my post, and it's got a link to it. It's a complicated link if I gave you the GoFundMe link. So probably the Facebook page is probably the easiest way to get to it.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would want people to know about your story?
Well, I mean, I'm willing to stand up and take it to court, just not to punish anybody, but to get businesses, because if we did go to court and let's say a lower court said, no way, just wear the mask. And let's say we took it to the Arkansas Supreme Court and they sided with me. Well, then that would be a precedent where businesses would have to at least acknowledge and give people religious exemptions if they felt like, and religious exemptions, I mean, they don't have to be, from what I read anyway, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but from what I read just on Title VII, it doesn't have to be hardcore like don't eat pork. It can be more of a conscience thing.
Yeah.
The way I read it. So, but it's probably an uphill battle, just knowing the way the courts are acting right now.
That's true. Well, listen, we want to follow this battle, and we wish you all the luck. And thank you so much for taking a stand.
Thank you for having me and giving me this interview. Appreciate it.